Today I rise to honor a longtime member of the Capitol community, Kathy Lynch, a beloved advocate whose absence will be felt by many. Kathy started her lobbying firm, Lynch & Associates, in 1985. Her clients included business and trade associations, the nonprofit sector, and education interests in California. Prior to entering the world of public policy, Kathy worked for a New York-based Fortune 500 company where she specialized in labor relations administration. Kathy deeply cared about the people she served and the work being done in this building. She will be remembered for her selflessness, her generosity, and the way she passionately advocated for her clients. We lost Kathy far too soon, and she will be missed by her family, friends, and all of us in the Capitol community. I would like to recognize her family and friends who are here today to honor Kathy and Gerald. My thoughts and prayers are with you. They were bright lights in this Capitol community. Members, thank you for joining me today in honoring Kathy Lynch.
Thank you, Ms. Daly. And Mr. Cooley, you too are recognized on this adjournment in memory.
Colleagues, I'm saddened but honored to rise in remembrance of Kathy Lynch. I knew her as a young man. In those days, I think when I first met Kathy, it was in the 1970s. She was active with the California Trucking Association. Long ago, CHP officer Alva Cooper, as he was known, representing the interests of truckers in California. And I think when I think of Catherine, I remember just her character. 1970s, there were actually not that many women advocates. So she was definitely someone who came here and broke the glass ceiling with just a handful of other women lobbyists trying to be effective, ardent advocates for their issues. She was what I would call sort of and pardon me, journeyman, a journey person. She knew the business of advocacy. She would meet with members, explain her position, listen to them, do her homework, and provide feedback if there was issues raised. She met with staff. She was an ardent advocate in committees. She took nothing for granted. And she had such a wide array of clients over her years. I remember her with the Trucking Association. I remember her early on with the Timber Association because the publisher of the San Mateo Times had some mountains that he wanted to get a timber plan going for. He was running into problems on the law, and Lou Papin worked on that. And she was involved in that conversation, trying to work on timber issues. She was always active with the American Pest Management Association, American Forest and Paper Association, the American Wood Council, Waste Haulers Council, Golden State Bail Association, which she has maintained a long history of representation for, Off-Road Vehicle Association. The outstanding thing about Catherine Lynch was she was this persistent, determined advocate. And I think that had to do with the fact that she started, and women will understand this, that when you go into a male-dominated profession, you feel, the expression is you got to do everything the men do, and in high heels sort of thing, you have to excel at a higher level. You need to establish your bona fides in kind of the club network of this Capitol. And she did that. She was very determined and consequently enjoyed a long career and the esteem of her colleagues for the way she approached her clients. And this means, you listen to the list of her clients, you realize with Catherine Lynch, the doors of the state capitol were never closed to any of her clients. She found a way to persist, to bring their issues forward, to articulate them, and to allow deliberation in the two houses to proceed on an informed basis whenever her clients' interests were at risk. So it's just an honor today to think about her, to think of my long career with her, to just think about the energy that she brought to it, the integrity she brought, the persistence, to make the process better. And I ask we adjourn in her treasured memory.
Thank you, Mr. Cooley. And Mr. Gallagher, you are also recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I also wanted to rise and adjourn in memory of Kathy Lynch. Those who knew and and worked with Kathy knew that she was a fierce and effective advocate. She was a force to be reckoned with. If she had an issue that she was pushing, you knew she was going to show up in your office, and you knew she was going to be prepared. And she always had a lot of documentation. I can recall getting, lots of paperwork that was be left with me, and saying, "Hey, read up on this before, this bill comes up." And I had the pleasure of working with Kathy, representing a rural district, but also as being vice chair of Water Parks and Wildlife. Kathy would always be in there. She was a very big advocate for the outdoor recreation, Second Amendment, and hunting communities. And together we tackled issues from conservation to off-road vehicle legislation. As was said, Kathy was really a trailblazer. She started her own firm in 1985, Lynch and Associates, and always had a reputation of being extremely hardworking and knowledgeable. She knew her issues better than anyone. And she worked very effectively with legislators, regulators, and the administration. One thing that people may not know about Kathy is she was an active leader with many advocacy coalitions, and for a long time, she maintained her passion for nursing. She had a nursing degree by practicing as a coronary care nurse at a local hospital on weekends. She had a big heart that was as big as her passion for politics. It's difficult to put into words what her loss means to those who knew her in this Capitol community. We are truly heartbroken. She was tragically taken from us too soon. We certainly in this community have had too much tragic, heartbreaking events here. But she was an exemplary and genuine individual whose legacy will continue to impact this Sacramento community and our work here in the legislature for a long time to come. I am truly grateful for the time that I had with Kathy and the opportunity to work with her. Thank you, members.